Since the dawn of history, humanity has always faced a profound and terrifying question. A question so fundamental that it has shaped all decisions, fears, hopes, and even the way humans perceive the world, acting as the cornerstone of human worldview. Who am I? What am I doing here? And what fate awaits me? This question has lingered like a heavy shadow over humanity since the very moment the first human opened their eyes to the world. A question sometimes framed as what is the meaning of life, other times as what is the purpose of creation, and sometimes as does anything exist after death, which has consumed human thought. A question whose answers have been the source of religions and the inspiration behind the development of science and philosophy throughout history. Yet, despite thousands of years of thoughtful human presence on Earth and countless efforts to understand this mystery, no one has succeeded in providing a definitive and convincing answer to this question. An answer so definitive and convincing that it would clarify humanity's place in life and destiny. But what is certain is that two fundamental approaches have emerged in facing this profound question: religion and science. Religion, claiming a connection to the heavens and the source of revelation, offers a transcendental answer to the nature of humanity and the purpose of its creation and presence on Earth. In contrast, science, relying on trial and error and human reason, has tried to provide a logical and rational answer regarding the creation and presence of humanity on Earth. The fundamental difference between these two perspectives lies in the certainty and uncertainty of their answers. Although religion speaks in a very assertive and firm tone about the goals and nature of life, science constantly discusses probabilities and what-ifs. Meanwhile, human life and longevity are considered one's greatest assets, and any incorrect assumption could squander this entire asset. And this is no laughing matter. As Shakespeare said, to be or not to be, that is the question. Either we are reborn after death and live forever, or death marks the end of everything, and our remains scatter across the universe like dust, leaving no trace of us behind. Our goal in this program is to compare these two perspectives and examine the differences and conflicts they present, each claiming to be the sole guide to living correctly. So I suggest you don't miss this program, because you may encounter questions and truths that could change your life forever, a change you truly need. As you know, the story of Adam's creation is one of the oldest human tales, a narrative that has not only secured a special place in the Abrahamic religions, but also has a close connection to our fundamental question: the purpose of human creation and their ultimate fate in this world. Interestingly, this very ancient tale has become one of the main sources of conflict and tension between science and religion, to the extent that the roots of this deep debate should be sought in the story of Adam's creation and the way he came into being. The story begins when God decides to create a new being and announces this to the angels: the emergence of a being with unique and special traits. So God forms a silent and lifeless body from clay and soil. a statue in which no sign of life is yet visible. Then he breathes his spirit into it, causing this lifeless clay creation to come alive and become a living being. God names him Adam. Adam's unique traits grant him a status above the angels. God then commands the angels to bow to him and serve him. Initially, this command meets with the angels' protest, but ultimately they bow before the Lord's command and obey his orders. However, Iblis, who until that moment had been one of the closest angels in God's court, rebels against this command. He, with blind pride and arrogance, sees himself far too superior to bow before a lowly and worthless being, made from foul and putrid clay. So God, angered by this rebellion and defiance born of his misplaced pride, responded by casting him down from the high status and position he once held, in disgrace and humiliation. But the story did not end there, because Iblis had asked God for respite to take his revenge on Adam and his wife, and, in his mind, prove that they were never worthy of the position God had intended for them. Thus, Adam and Eve, who resided in the bountiful paradise, soon became the target of the sworn enemy's vengeance. They fell into the traps of Satan's temptations, and the heavy consequence of that was nothing but expulsion from paradise. Thus, the exiled from paradise settled on earth, a place full of hardship and suffering, where there was no trace of the endless comforts of paradise nor the eternal life that Satan had promised them. So they began to reproduce and became parents and grandparents, and eventually they passed away, leaving the world with all its suffering and hardships as an inheritance for their children. Yet Iblis remained present on earth and had sworn to lead astray all generations after Adam, with various deceitful promises. Therefore, God made earthly life a means for human trial and testing, and promised Adam and his descendants that, if they emerge victorious and resilient from divine tests and Satan's deceptions, he would return them to the same paradise that had been prepared for them from the beginning, where neither suffering nor death exists, and they remain there forever, enjoying every joy and pleasure they desire, while all angels and creatures of the universe will serve them, just as God had commanded them at the moment of Adam's creation to bow to him. But conversely, those who fall into the clutches of demons and become slaves to their own pride and arrogance face a painful fate and excruciating torment, falling with Iblis into a hell from which there is no escape. From the intensity of suffering, they wish for death every moment, yet death never comes for them. This is a brief summary of the story of